Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right.
Hello, Show.
Where's is going to be in the new Sophology Christmas TV advert.
What? This is
Yes.
even bigger than being in the Daily Mail. What?
Yes, look on the Sophology Instagram account. There's a snippet behind the scenes of the new Christmas advert. As far as I know, it's not out yet. I'm waiting. But he's on there. He's on there.
How?
He hates it. He's absolutely dreaded.
You know what? How I don't listen to the podcast? I
Yeah.
don't want to see myself on the telly either.
There he
So-
is. Ah! Fantastic. Oh my God. I'm going to add that to our Instagram story.
Where's?
Well, I am. Because I'm weird and self-aware.
Brilliant.
So anyway,
Love
you saw
it.
something. Anyway, moving on.
Thanks for that, Show. Love it.
You saw something the other day, Matthew, that you wanted to talk to me about on here. Go for it.
Oh, I did, but I mean, it's
It's
not as
got-
good as being on a sofa company's
It's got-
Christmas
whatever
advert,
you've
is
got
it?
to say,
Jesus
it's got-
Christ.
Fuck all to do with sofas.
So far, so good.
You're such a git.
Oh dear. Anyway, I tell you what, our guest today is a vegan runner, and before I bang on too much about vegan runners, I'm just going to tell you that our local vegan runner group have booked our festive meal at the Barn in Willey, which
Oh,
is
wow.
a fantastic restaurant that's vaguely local to us. So there'll be
Yeah.
19 of us going for dinner just after Christmas. Very excited.
Fantastic.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I know our super fan Martin went recently because he posted it on his Instagram.
Yes.
A big, massive plate full of food.
Have you been yet?
Yes, we went. Oh, we went for our wedding anniversary. Yes.
Okay.
Early September, we went for the carvery. Yes.
Yeah, I thought you had.
It's tremendous. Next time you come down, not this weekend when you're coming down, but the next time after
The
that.
next time.
Yeah, we'll try and engineer
Yeah.
a trip.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, good.
This has been the most interesting intro we've ever done.
Well, it has, because I've seen you. You're famous.
Oh.
You're on the Sophology advert.
Anyway, if anybody wants to get in touch with us, ask us any questions. If you want to come on the podcast, just
Where's
send
his
it.
autograph?
Oh, God, no.
If you want, where's he's going to set himself up on Cameo? If you want a video message.
Oh, you're such a dick. Yeah. But if you do want to get in touch, then just search for us at How I Vegan Podcast, or you can email us. And if they were to email us, what would they do?
Well, if you're on email, and you simply have to be these days, you should send us a message to howiveganpodcast@gmail.com. Today, we're welcoming a vegan runner who moved from the UK to France, is a budding podcaster with a brand new true crime pod, Felonious, about to launch. And that's not even the most exciting announcement that she's made in the last week, because she's told the world that baby number 2 is on the way. So listeners, you might know her on Instagram as Auntie Yaya. Our guest in this episode is Nazia. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's very exciting. Oh, yeah, okay. A bit
No.
apprehension coming through there.
No, it is exciting, but it's also very, very daunting because I have a daughter who's going to be 17 months. So I'm going to be having 2 kids under the age of 2.
Oh, Wes can tell you all about that.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
do all
really?
that. We have a 15-month gap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no
mean,
hanging around in that house.
now. They're teenagers now, but yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun.
Yeah. I know.
It was-
I'm
it
reading
was
up
great.
on all the horror stories just to kind of mentally prepare myself.
Yeah.
Don't read
But
the horror
however bad
stories.
it
There's all
is-
good stuff too.
Yeah, however bad it is, people have been through it as well. You won't be on your own, will you?
Yeah, exactly. No. And I've got a great support system. So
That
hopefully,
helps a
hopefully it will help.
lot. Yeah, that's very exciting though. Vegan babies or
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Awesome.
Yeah, my partner isn't vegan, but we're raising the little ones vegan, and I've been vegan throughout my pregnancy, haven't had any issues.
Fantastic.
Thankfully.
Who'd have thought that, eh?
I know, but I think what does help is that I've been vegan for about 13 years. Whereas I've read, like, when people have gone newly vegan and then they've gotten pregnant, they still sometimes get cravings.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I've like just seen on forums people asking for advice, like how are they supposed to deal with that? But I think thankfully it's been so long since I had meat. I didn't have any weird cravings, and there's so many substitutes now available anyway. So you've got no excuse really.
It's great to meet you, and albeit virtually. I think you were, without sounding too creepy, hopefully, but you were one of the first vegan runners that I think I started following on Instagram.
No way.
When I first went vegan, yeah.
Really?
I went after probably a few months. I saw a picture of someone that I'd been following wearing the green and black.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And then I just went on like a spree of trying to find as many vegan runners as I could.
Oh, fantastic.
And yeah, there's an iconic photo of you being chased by loads of runners, and that was the vegan runners. It was like the header on the Facebook page for
on the parkrun
years, wasn't
Facebook.
it?
Yeah, and I think it made a comeback. It went off for a bit, and then for some reason Mike put it back on, and I was really embarrassed because I'd completely forgotten about it.
But it's a really great one because it just looks like they're all chasing you and you're just like running and they're all in your wake because they can't keep up. Brilliant.
Yeah. No, that was a great photo. Very, very well timed, because I'm sure some of those people did overtake me at the finish. Not long after that photo.
Don't tell them that.
Yeah, sorry, you can cut that bit out.
I'll edit that bit. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So tell us about Felonious, your true crime podcast that's launching soon.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I moved to France, and my best friend, we've known each other since we were 4 years old, she moved to Sweden, and yeah, so we both kind of left the UK. She left before me, and
you did a reverse Brexit.
Yeah, basically. And like, we've obviously kept in touch, and I just thought, why don't we both do this as a project? I just mentioned it. I was like, do you want to start a podcast together? And she was like, yeah, why not? And we had that conversation in April, May. So the last few months we've been just working on, doing loads of research. We've pre-recorded about 10 episodes. And yeah, we've kind of taken it really seriously. And I think, like, it's just a nice project for us to both work on, and it helps keep us in touch.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you move away, it's really easy to lose touch with people. So I just thought that was just a nice thing to like do together.
Yeah.
So you and your mate
to us.
Sorry. So yeah, I was going to say. So you and your mate lived close together. You've both moved into different countries, and then you decided to do a podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Basically.
Yeah. Very, very similar, but not in different countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just been like good fun. it makes us keep in touch with each other every day, but it's also given us something else to talk about other than our daily lives and stupid things we share from the internet with each other. And we're trying to focus on crimes that have happened in like Europe or Asia, like basically trying to steer away from UK and US cases, which I think a lot of the current true crime podcasts focus on.
Good.
We still have some cases from the UK and the US, but we're trying to predominantly not like come out of those areas, just to give something different to listen to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look forward to
That
that.
sounds
Have
really
you
good.
got a launch? Have you got a launch date set?
Yes, so our first episode should be coming out on the 12th of December.
Excellent.
Hopefully,
Okay.
if all the tech goes well.
Okay. No, that's cool. We'll link to it in the show notes so people can have a listen. Can you give us any teasers for the first episode? Or you're launching? Launching it all in one go, or one episode a week or fortnight?
Just one episode a week. So the idea was just to give us a bit of a head start, especially with Christmas coming up.
Yes.
So we can have a bit of a break and research future cases. But yeah, I won't give away the name of the first person we're going to talk about, but he was a serial killer, and he was also a womanizer, a gambling addict, a fraudulent businessman, and he was very well travelled. So that's the only clue I'm going to give.
Could be any Tory MP.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Oh, imagine doing research for a pod, Wes.
I know. Can you imagine? Imagine.
Yeah.
Blimey.
It's fun because we get to, we have an interest in true crime anyway. So we're watching documentaries or reading books and articles on things we would have, gotten into anyway. But then we have to write notes and do a script and like
Brilliant.
deep dive and fact check and all that stuff.
I love that.
So yeah.
That sounds great. Great. It's going to be
fun.
on Spotify and all the usual.
But yeah, no, it will be on all the major podcast platforms, hopefully.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, well, we'll look out for that. That sounds exciting. So whereabouts in France did you move to? Somewhere, one of the cities or somewhere rural?
So we're in the suburbs just outside of Paris. It's about an hour from Gare du Nord station. So we're like a train journey into Paris, which isn't too bad, but it's very I'm London born and bred. So where we're living now is very, very quiet compared to what I'm used to.
Yes, fair enough. Yeah, that is quite a change. That.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So you mentioned that you've been vegan 13 years. What's your vegan story?
So when I was around 15, I went vegetarian, and I think that was partly for the animals and partly teenage rebellion. I grew up I'm from a Muslim family and Bengali family, so like meat and fish is very, very prominent in our culture. And my sister's vegetarian, and she's older than me, so she was vegetarian at that time as well, so she was part of the influence then. And then as I got older, in around 2009, I started dating a boyfriend at the time, and he was a meat eater, but he was, I don't like using this description, but he was kind of like the hippie type, a Surrey hippie, if you know the type.
He's a hippie because he could afford to be.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
And but yeah, he was a meat eater at the time, and I remember saying to him one day, I feel like going vegan, and he was like, why? I was like, I don't know, I just feel like it's the logical step. I didn't know anything about the dairy industry. I didn't know anything, about the egg industry. I just thought it kind of like, why am I eating any products from animals if I'm not eating meat? And then he was like, oh, that's a bit extreme. And then so I thought, okay, I won't go vegan because I didn't want to like upset him or whatever. But then a few months later, when I was in France visiting family, he emailed and he said, when you come back, do you want to go vegan together? I was like, oh, that's a bit extreme, isn't it? Because he was going from like not eating meat. It's from eating meat going full
Straight
going
over.
full on vegan. And I think at the time for him, he had a Buddhist friend, so that was his influence. So yeah, we made the transition together, and we didn't do the cold turkey approach. We just kind of cut out one ingredient at a time. So I think it took me maybe a couple of months to fully transition. And that was, 2009, 2010-ish, around that time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So just, you say about like cutting an ingredient out,
Yeah.
like, how does that work?
So I just kind of dropped a food type per week. So I think, I can't remember if it was cheese that was the first or the last. But like, for example, one week I stopped eating cheese. Another week I stopped having milk, stopped having chocolate, honey. So it's just gradually cutting things out that was in my everyday diet. Yeah.
I like that. The sort of structured approach, sort of doing it quite methodically, and then it gives you time to, I guess, plan what's next and what to replace it with and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, and just trying, if I was having substitutes, having a chance to try one substitute at a time, or if there weren't any substitutes, just getting used to eating without that thing.
Yeah.
So did you have any difficulties? Did you find anything that was a bit of a struggle when you went vegan or not?
Not really. So I was living at home with my parents at the time, and when I went vegetarian, that was more of a shock because I was giving up the meat and fish. But then over time, my mum got used to it, and like she was cooking, because I was a teenager then, so she was cooking vegetable curries for me. But when I went vegan, I think because she knew I wasn't eating animals as it is, not having dairy or other products didn't really bother her. And actually, she even recognized that when I cut out dairy, that was healthier for me. So I used to get really bad eczema in the summer, like all over my face, all over my neck and arms. But when I cut out the dairy, it reduced drastically, and there were other health benefits. So, if I got a cold, I recovered quicker. I just felt like I had more energy. But yeah, like, because I was eating mostly home cooked meals at that point in my life, I didn't really eat out very often. I didn't struggle, and yeah, it was okay actually.
That's cool. So you mentioned there that you found it was a big shock for your family when you first went vegetarian. How did that sort of manifest itself? What was the sort of reaction?
The biggest one was, I'm just copying my sister. It's going to be a phase. Okay. I'm not. It's not going to last long. And there was a lot of denial from my parents, from my mum especially, and there were just arguments within the family, and they'd say things like, "Oh, well, God put animals on the earth for us to eat," that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were worried about my health as well, because obviously for them, a lot of their nutrition is from the meat. And I'd get questions like, well, if you're not going to eat chicken and beef, what are you going to eat? And funny, one of the catalysts that actually made me go vegetarian as well also was, me and my family went to America, and my aunt in America, she cooked a vegetable curry with like vegetables I've never ever eaten in my life before. And there were simple things like mushrooms and broccoli, but because it wasn't part of my family's like home cooking, I'd never had it before. So my aunt, she just cooked this amazing curry, and I was like, why aren't I eating this every day? And I said to my mum, you can just cook this every day, I'll be happy. So yeah, I think, for a lot of my family at that time, it was just a very unfamiliar concept for them. And yeah, like, I think still in my family, I'm the only vegan.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like, being vegetarian was just like, me and my sister, we were the only vegetarian in our family at that point.
And
Brilliant.
your sister hasn't followed you.
No, she hasn't.
No.
She's cut down, like she'll have plant milks, but she's still vegetarian. She hasn't gone vegan.
Right. So what's with your other half? Why hasn't he gone? Take his husband. Sorry.
Yeah. So
He's
I
in the
think-
background, so if you don't want to say, that's fine. We can see him.
oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't realise you could see him.
before you start saying something that's going to get you in trouble.
No, no. I think it's just the French culture, isn't it? But no, he eats vegan at home,
Okay.
and when we eat with his family, they'll cook vegan or I'll cook vegan for them. And when so we're not legally married, we had an Islamic ceremony. We're waiting to do the legal thing at some point, but when we had our religious marriage ceremony, that was all vegan.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically my mum, we had our religious ceremony because my mum has been diagnosed with cancer, and so we got married as one of her last wishes to see me married off. So it's like a very quickly planned ceremony. So it's mostly my family, and I remember going to the venue and I said it's got to be vegan, and I don't think they'd ever done a vegetarian wedding before,
Wow.
and it was Indian caterers, and I said, look, you've got the curries, you just need to not cook it with ghee. And they were like, okay.
Yeah.
It's still going to taste good. And
Yeah.
my mum was joking. She was like, oh, she's going to have a fruit salad party for her wedding. And my other relatives, they were like, what are we going to eat? Like, how are we supposed to eat all this? Because at Bengali weddings, again, you have the meat curry, the chicken curry, the fish curry. Usually the only vegetarian option at a Bengali wedding is dal. And even then it might have ghee. So
Wow.
and you might maybe get some vegetarian samosas and whatnot. So yeah, my extended family, they were just like, what are we going to eat at this wedding? But on the day, so my brother was walking around just checking how everything was going, and he said, people are having second and third servings.
Hey, there we go.
And the event manager, he was really impressed, and he was like, we've never thought to offer vegan and vegetarian options at our venue, but we will now. And I said, look, this is how easy it is. And I baked my own cake, and it was vegan, and apparently people are fighting over the slices.
Brilliant.
So when we have our French wedding, it will be vegan as well. And thankfully, like his family, they're very open to the idea of having vegan food. But yeah, and I think it's just French culture, it's still way, way, way behind.
Really? I was going to ask you about that. What's the comparison? Because obviously living in London probably isn't a fair reflection of the whole of the UK. I think it's obviously one of the top cities for vegan restaurants and stuff, but in comparison.
I think, London, we are very spoilt in London. And even in other big cities of the UK, so you've got like Manchester and Brighton, which are known to be great for veganism. And, it's a good thing and a bad thing that the UK has a lot of restaurant branches like Wagamama's and whatnot, where they have a lot of vegan options on their menu. So wherever you go, that's a city, you can get a vegan option. But even in some of the more remote places in the UK, like out in Essex or wherever else, I've been surprised where we've managed to go to pubs and they'll have one or two vegan options on the menu. Whereas in France, firstly, there aren't many restaurant branches. There's a lot of local businesses, but they have the local attitudes. So not a lot of them have vegan options. In Paris, there's more and more vegan, like specifically vegan restaurants and cafes. So it is getting better. We went to Bordeaux I think it was 3 years ago, so in between the pandemic. We went to Bordeaux, and that was quite like surprisingly okay for vegan food as well.
Okay.
The supermarkets are getting better. There's a lot of options now. So in terms of home cooking and like buying groceries, it's absolutely fine, but it's just eating out is the biggest issue, and people's general attitudes towards it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're not backwards in coming forwards and telling you how wrong you are.
Just the usual questions, and
Yeah.
I think it's just the collective attitude.
Oh,
I
okay.
think. And
What's the French for if you were stuck on a desert island and there was just a pig?
All I know
I
is
don't.
that
I haven't.
it's a job. I think.
Don't know. I haven't actually been asked that question, thankfully.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah. No. I'm trying to think of what. Maybe because it's been in French, I haven't really paid attention. But
Brilliant.
yeah, I think a lot of people, from what I've experienced, they're not convinced by the animal ethics aside, they're not convinced by the health benefits and the climate benefits of veganism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Still
So,
some way to go on that.
yeah, I think so.
What's the best thing about being vegan?
Feeling better. I mean, yeah, there's assurance that you're not contributing to animal harm. So that, obvious point aside, I think just the health benefits of it, and it's way easier than people think. Like, you don't have to get all the processed fake meats and fake cheeses. Just cook with a whole bunch, as many vegetables as you can think of, and you can't really go wrong.
No. I was thinking of that when you said about the vegetable curries. It's just get a load of veg and chuck it in with a bit of stock and some spices. Isn't that?
Yeah.
That's a brilliant dinner.
Yeah.
It's
And
so
the thing
easy.
is, it's so easy to improvise. And even if you follow a recipe loosely, you're still going to get a great meal out of it. Like, very rarely I'm disappointed by my own cooking, if I say so myself.
Well, my wife is the same. She's a great cook because I can follow a recipe, but she can go in the kitchen and get some like vegetables, chop them up, like I say, chuck them in, just like willy-nilly with the spices, and it tastes amazing. And it's just the simplest of things for a really healthy meal. It's like, why isn't everyone doing this?
Yeah, and it's cost effective. Like, people always think there's that misconception that being vegan is expensive, and it's like, only if you get specific products. But if you're just buying grains, fruit and veg, it's really cheap. And actually, like, during lockdown, I think that was probably the healthiest time, one of the healthiest periods of my life, because I wasn't working. So I thought, okay, I can't waste my money on food I don't need. And I was just cooking really fresh, healthy stuff without any of the like processed foods. And, I wasn't lacking in anything.
Yeah.
It was great.
Fantastic. So, having talked about how easy it is to cook fresh, healthy food, what's your favorite vegan product at the moment?
So my favorite vegan product at the moment, well, both of ours, mine and my partner's, it's the La Vie.
Yes.
The
bacon.
We've had the bacon. They've just come out with the ham slices, and
What?
oh my god,
wow.
And also, me coming from a Muslim background, it's like, if you're Muslim, you can have this because it's vegan. It's not a real pig.
It's a double win.
Yeah. Exactly. But so I've never had ham before, but it tastes delicious, the vegan stuff anyway. But yeah, we've bought so many packets of the ham, and the funny thing is my toddler, she loves it. One of our cats is really, really fussy about what cat food she likes, but she
Yeah.
goes absolutely mental for this ham.
No way.
Yeah. Like as soon as
Got catnip in it.
I don't know, but like my daughter, when we first gave it to my daughter, she was like eating it and she was dropping bits on the floor, and the cat was just like following her around and eating it and then licking the empty packet.
Oh my God. Yeah, it
And
must be
she is
good.
the most fussiest cat I've ever known, but she
Wow.
loves this ham. So that's a quite a statement for the company. But yeah, so we've been having the bacon, we've had the ham, and then there's the lardon as well, which we've bought a lot of their
Okay.
products. It's gotten a bit expensive.
Yeah.
What's
Are you trying to get? Sorry, go on, Wes.
what's lard on?
Don't know actually.
It's like little bits, isn't it?
It's
Isn't
just
it little
yeah,
bits?
like tiny chunks. I don't
Yeah.
know in the pig sense what it is, like what part of the
bit-
body or what they do with
a
it.
bit.
I have no idea. I don't even know what ham is. But yeah, it's just like tiny chunks. But we've been putting that in. Like, my partner made a pasta sauce the other week with soy cream, mushrooms, spices, and the lardon. And yeah, we've been using that in various forms of cooking.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
French
kind of
thing.
it tastes bacony, doesn't it? But it's like
Yeah.
tiny little bits. We have it on Lou's mac and cheese. Cheese
enough.
with a Z.
I have to try that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, very good. Very good.
I'll have to add that to our shopping list. They're going to get more of our money.
We haven't had the La Vie one. I haven't seen that in supermarkets over here yet.
Oh,
But,
really?
Not yet.
No, it's been advertised. I've seen it advertised, but not
Oh.
Not for sale.
out in the shops anywhere. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah. Oh no, but I've been loving it. Never had a bacon lettuce sandwich. I've had my first bacon lettuce bacon lettuce tomato sandwich.
Yeah.
And we had croque monsieur with ham and cheese. Yeah, it's great. It's good stuff.
I love that.
Really amazing.
Fantastic.
What advice would you give to anyone who came to you thinking about going vegan?
I think first things first, don't worry about making mistakes. We all make mistakes. Even when in the early days of me being vegan, there was so much I didn't know. So I started learning about all the various aspects of the animal exploitation industries after I went vegan. So I was kind of making mistakes as I went along. So for anyone who's looking to make the transition, like don't worry about being perfect. Just do the best you can, and that's what we all can do, really. And make sure that you know enough about nutrition, because I think a lot of people probably go into it without researching enough about nutrition, and they can make mistakes where they end up deficient in something, which can happen with a lot of people regardless of what diet you follow.
Yeah.
Let's face it, when we're growing up, we're not taught about nutrition, but there's so many resources out there. There's forums, there's podcasts, there's online groups where you can like just ask questions and people will be willing to help. And yeah, just like be patient with it. Don't knock it too early. You know, some people, they'll try being vegan and they might have some sort of reaction, or they might have something that concerns them, but you know, it's an adjustment for the body and you just have to give it time, and there's always a way around it. So yeah, I think those are the key points.
There's always a way.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, good. So who is your vegan inspiration?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm sure everyone says Fiona Oakes, so I won't say.
Not everyone, but we can have that. We'll have
Yeah,
that.
no, Fiona Oakes, because she's like
The OG vegan runner.
Yeah, she's the OG vegan runner. Just her life story, and she's very intrinsically motivated in everything she does. Like, it's really, really admirable. And yeah, she's just an amazing person. And I think the other person would probably be Rich Roll. I listen to his podcasts a lot, and just his journey as well. Like, he didn't go vegan for the animals. He went for a very selfish reason, but then like he is vegan for the animals now, but he's also like another amazing athlete. And he's someone, so Fiona Oakes, she went vegan when she was 6, and she's always been a sporty person growing up. And the thing that you can admire about her is that she's been consistent, she's stuck to it. Whereas Rich Roll, he made a massive life change when he was 40.
Oh, same as us, Wes.
Yeah, so there's still time.
Yeah.
So yeah, he basically, I don't know if you know about his story.
No, not really.
So he used to be like a lawyer. He had the standard American junk food diet. When he was younger, he was a swimmer. So he was athletic in his youth, but then he, adulthood, got married, had kids, was climbing the corporate ladder, and he was just climbing up a set of stairs in his house and struggled to breathe, thought he was going to have a heart attack. And then he just realized, okay, I need to do something about this, switched his diet around, and then he became an ultra athlete.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, and he's like one of the top athletes that there's been. So if definitely, he's got an autobiography called Finding Ultra. It's definitely worth listening to or reading if you have the chance. And his podcast is amazing. He has so many inspirational people on his podcasts.
Went vegan at 40, started a podcast. Just like us, Wes. Just like us. Apart from the ultra athleticism.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah. You're on the right track.
We're so close. We're so close.
I know. Just look at this. Just look at it.
There's nothing better than a hunk of prime Labrador steak, wonderfully marbled. And that is almost entirely dependent on how it's produced. Elwood's Organic Dog Meat has complete control of this entire journey. So I'm here at Elwood's farm to find out a little more about it.
Welcome to Elwood Farms.
Thank you very much, Elwood.
I hear you do a bit of barbecuing?
I do a little bit of barbecuing every now and then, yes. From a chef's point of view, consistency is key for everything.
It doesn't matter if it's a Rottweiler ribeye, a Pyrenees mince, or a Lab sirloin.
You can always tell when the dog comes from a place where it was well reared. And every step has to be right, doesn't it? Oh, you should see these guys. So, from an Elwood's point of view, there's complete traceability.
Absolutely. Unrivaled traceability, so it's fine.
Every single piece of dog meat.
Yeah, from pub to farmer's market.
Everything the dog's been fed.
Everything about it.
For each dog.
Yeah, only Marks and Spencer's and Whole Foods do this.
Where else can people order from?
From elwooddogmeat.com. That's ELWOOD dogmeat.com.
For top quality meat from dogs for people, meat that's local, sustainable, and humanely harvested, there's only Elwood's Organic Dog Meat. They seem pretty friendly, don't they? They're more responsive to me than my kids, to be honest.
Oh, you got your glasses on.
Ah, busted.
Fall out with some people.
There's nothing wrong with wearing glasses.
No, there's not. There's not. It's just, there's no point. But there's no, at the minute, to get into it, there was a point, and now there's not. So there's, yeah.
Keep telling yourself that, Wes. Oh, that's funny.
So,
You've thrown him right off there.
I haven't.
Sorry.
so I haven't, here's a question for you. Êtes-tu été sur une
Oh,
île
God.
avec un seul cochon?
Oh,
What?
wow. Yeah.
What
Those-
if you're on a desert island with just one pig?
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh. Are you going to
Was that-
practice that for when you come to France?
Yeah.
You know?
Was that on Duolingo today, Wes?
Yeah, that very phrase was on Duolingo
Yeah.
today.
Oh,
Absolutely.
really?
No.
Oh,
No. Wouldn't that be great?
Can
you know,
you imagine?
sometimes Duolingo, I don't know if they like know who their vegan users are, but sometimes it
Yeah.
comes with sentences like vegan sentences.
Yeah, I've had I don't eat meat and I don't like meat.
Yeah.
They've come up.
Yeah, there was
Hmm.
even one recently, something about like an anti-zoo sentence, which I was impressed
No
with.
way.
Yeah, I can't remember what
That's
it was,
incredible.
but I was like, wow. Yeah.
So, thank you for coming back, first of all. We always worry that our guest isn't going to come back, but it hasn't happened yet, but touch wood. So,
Although
good.
your husband hasn't come back.
I've just rotated it.
Did you
I
realise
didn't
you've
even
just
know.
spun him round to face the wall or something?
I've spun my laptop round. I didn't
Oh, right,
realise that
okay.
he was in the background of my screen.
It's fine. It's fine. He wasn't flicking the V's or doing the bunny ears or anything, so
No.
it was fine. Oh, brilliant. So, what's your favourite vegan venue or restaurant?
So in London, it was Pizza.
Oh, yes, that's the pizza place, isn't it?
Yeah, and even my partner, we had a thing when before I moved to France, whenever he was in London, we'd go to Pizza. It was
Oh,
like it had to be done. Best pizzas ever. And actually, my old workplace, my boss is vegan,
that's
and
handy.
he's like a lifelong vegetarian, and he went vegan not long after I started working there. So one year he left me in charge of doing the Christmas work do.
Fantastic.
And I was like, let's go to Pizza.
Yes.
I got to decide. I mean, we'd always gone to, I think the previous 2 years, we'd gone to Mildred's. So it was always a vegetarian restaurant because he
Yeah.
was vegetarian and he was paying for the food. So he's like, I'm not going to pay for meat, which everyone was fine with. So we'd been to Mildred's. There was another one we went to, I think it was called The Gate, another like somewhere in Islington. But yeah, so when it was my turn to plan the work Christmas do, I picked Pizza, and if I'm not mistaken, since I've left, I think they've gone to Pizza again. So
No way.
yeah,
That's fantastic.
I know, it's brilliant. So yeah, in London it would be Pizza. In France, to be honest, I haven't tried many of the vegan restaurants in Paris, but the one that I have gone back to a few times is called Hank Burger, and it's really good. So if you're ever in Paris, definitely check out Hank. They've got 2 locations and they do amazing burgers and other like really stodgy vegan foods.
Perfect. So is
Yeah.
Pizza like wholly vegan?
Yeah, it's a fully
It is?
vegan
Wow.
pizzeria. And I think a few years ago, or not long after they opened, they actually won the UK Pizza Award.
Mm.
I can't. Yeah, they won an award. Out of all the pizzas, their vegan pizza won the award.
That's really
Brilliant.
impressive.
Yeah, and
I bet that caused some issues.
yeah, and I think they seem to change their menu, like not too regularly, but you know, like you'll get something new once in a while. And the amount of times I've been, it's never been disappointing. They've always like come up with something
Pretty good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wes, I've got some news for you.
Oh, hello.
There's one in Manchester.
Yes, there is.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they've
Oh, I
got a tiny
recognise
one
the
in,
name actually.
I think they've got a tiny one in Brighton, but they've got the one I've been to has been in London.
Oh, in
So if-
Camden.
Yes.
Oh, do you know what? I've got a leaving due to organise in January. That's very tempting. Very tempting.
Do it. They won't be, no one
Ah,
will be disappointed.
might.
And they do
I might.
amazing desserts as well. So
Pizza and
What
pudding.
sort of
Yeah.
desserts?
So I don't think they do it anymore, but when the first time I went, they did an Oreo pizza. That was really,
What?
really indulgent. Yeah, it was like a pizza, just a small pizza base with Nutella, Oreos, and you can have an ice cream in the middle. It was really, really indulgent.
Jesus.
I've had vegan tiramisu there. If I remember correctly, they do nice cocktails as well if you drink. Yeah, whenever I've had dessert there, it's basically when I go there, I eat too much because there's so much to choose from. And even if I have to take something home, like I take a goodie
Brilliant.
bag home.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah.
magic. That's where my leaving due is going to be. Fantastic.
You're coming up
Yeah.
here soon, aren't you, Matthew?
Oh, we are. Yeah, the week before Christmas, we're going to be up.
Yeah.
I just tell the kids we're going for pizza and not tell them that it's plant-based.
Where? So we started this question because of the term dystopia of us living, of vegans living in a carnivore world,
Right.
and the sadness we feel surrounded by people that eat meat. So, do you have any hope for the future?
Oh God, that's a difficult one. And I've thought about this a lot. I'd like to be hopeful. I think in terms of the general population, I do have hope. I think more people are kind of realizing that there's some power within ourselves to make a change. You know, we can do what we can do. It still has an impact. It might not feel like it, but at the same time, you do have governments and corporations making absolutely devastating decisions. And, you know, yes, they do have the majority of the power, unfortunately. And they are the biggest culprits in terms of the damage being done to the world. This is quite a deep ending
That's
to
all
a
right.
podcast, sorry. But no, like I think at the same time, it seems to be like a massive polar opposite. There's, you know, part of the spectrum where more people are waking up, making the change for the better. And then on the other end, you've got, you know, powers that be that aren't doing what they should be doing. And then you've got idiots like carnivore diet people, you know, spreading all this stupid information online that oats are bad for you, and you know,
while they're eating a big massive chunk of raw meat.
Yeah.
And what is wrong with people?
I know, and I think that's really dangerous. I mean, if you've got people like Andrew Tate who can influence loads of young minds, can you imagine what these carnists can, you know? And
it's unbelievable.
It's quite dangerous. But, you know, as I said, I'm hoping that the right information eventually gets out. And, you know, I don't know if I'm hopeful. But I don't want to be too like pessimistic either. But I think generally, like, veganism has, you know, skyrocketed so much in the last few years, and I don't think that trajectory is going to change direction.
No, you must have seen so much change in the years you've been vegan, because you were there before it sort of really kicked off.
Yeah, and I think social media has a massive role in that, because back then, like, I didn't know any vegans. It's only because of Vegan Runners that I met other vegans. And then
Same here.
I mean, I knew my first vegan when I was 15. He was a friend who I also dated, like, very briefly. He was the only vegan that I'd ever known as a child, and back then no one knew any vegans, like, didn't even know what veganism was. But then, like with social media, people connecting with one another, there's more podcasts, there's more documentaries, it's more spoken about in mainstream media, whether it's negative or positive, and even in like just entertainment, veganism is showing up a lot more. So I don't think that's going to change in the future, and so that gives me a bit of hope.
Yes. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think that sort of, I guess, grassroots, I suppose you'd say, the sort of people power. But then I feel like that, like, there's more and more vegans, but then you read things like, what is it, like the top polluting companies cause 70% of all the pollution and things like that. And I know that's not veganism, that's climate, but for me, it's all really
it's
interlinked,
interrelated, isn't it?
Yeah, that kind of brings me back down again.
Yeah. And I think, when you hear about like big farming companies, like factory farming, and just the destruction that they're causing to natural environments and local wildlife, and just the like secondary effects of animal agriculture still having an effect on the rest of the world. Yeah, it's a bit grim.
Yeah, but so not to end on a downer, we are just around the corner from Veganuary, so hopefully that will be another opportunity to get the message out and get people thinking in a positive way, so that we can hopefully change a few more minds.
Yeah, definitely. I think like every Veganuary has been amazing. Every year I seem to come across someone who's trying it, and not everyone sticks to it, but a majority of the people do. And I think, like, as vegans ourselves, the only thing we can really do, apart from the various forms of activism, I think just live by example, and then the message gets through to someone eventually.
That's it.
You can't expect people to change overnight.
No, and once they see
we didn't change overnight.
No, exactly. And once they see that we're not all dying of protein deficiency and just collapsing all the time and all that kind of thing, that people will realize, oh, actually, do you know what? Maybe there is something in this.
Yeah, and like one thing I've noticed since becoming a mum, like going through pregnancy and now raising a child, show it's there's been the odd comments like, oh, you shouldn't force your child to be vegan. It's like, well, you shouldn't force your child to eat chicken either, without telling them where it's from. And B, them worried about nutrient deficiencies, and it's like, no, like
Nobody asks that of carnivore parents, do they?
No, exactly. And yeah, it's like, it's very doable. There's nothing to worry about. And I think that's the other thing, like as new vegans, especially when they become new parents, there's a lot of uncertainty and they worry that they're not doing right by their child, but like it's absolutely fine. And there's so much support out there to reassure them and give them advice.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that is one of the positive things about social media and the internet, is that there is that advice available now that wasn't not that long ago.
Yeah, especially for vegan parents. Like it can be being a parent itself can be quite a lonely experience, but when you're a vegan parent, it's even more.
Yeah, I can only imagine that.
All the challenges new parents get, right, like over advice of how you're parenting and judgment over how you're doing it. In any decision you make as a parent, you're judged on it. So if you're vegan, then oh my god, you must be mental. What's going on?
It's like you're abusing your child, and it's like anything but.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
And like I think again, just having an open mind, if like your child grows up later on and decides not to be vegan, you can't there's only so much you can do as long as you've given them the information to make that informed choice.
Yes,
you
that's
know.
it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yes, that's a good shout. Fantastic. Well, Nazia, we've reached the end. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
That's been really fantastic, and we will look forward to hearing more from you when Felonious is released.
Yeah.
I might end up listening to that more than I listen to this.
Well, you know, you can listen to our podcast and then you can listen to this one as a palate cleanser.
That was a great chat. Enjoyed that.
Lovely.
Yes, Nazia was great
Did a
fun.
bit of
Great
French.
fun. Yeah. Good.
I can't speak French, but I did speak a bit of French that was rubbish. But there we go.
All right. I thought you were going to say I can't speak French, but I do kiss that way. But yes, that was good. I'm on a 100-day streak of Swedish, and I'm going to make absolutely no attempts to say that in Swedish. I've got no idea how that would go.
Can you say I speak Swedish?
No, because it wouldn't be true.
Okay, but when I was learning Norwegian, one of the early lessons was "Jeg snakker norsk," which is
that's a
Norwegian.
nice one.
Yeah.
Jeg snakker norsk. Okay.
So if any Norwegian people are listening and I pronounce that really badly, I'm really sorry. But no, it was good. It was a nice chat. I enjoyed that. It was good.
Yes. Very informative.
Yes.
Very informative. And it's good to get a perspective of being vegan in 2 different countries.
Yes. And 2 major cities in those 2 different countries as well, which is good. And how different it is. It's you know, me and Michelle were in Edinburgh a few weeks ago, and you think Edinburgh, you know, Scotland, like ancient city. Well, I was like, there's not going to be anything, you know, apart from the option here or there. But there's loads of cafes and restaurants. It's like really, really contemporary as well as being ancient.
Yeah. Have you got any vegan restaurant recommendations?
No.
You just had McPlant every day, did you?
You caught me off guard.
Did you have McPlant and Iron Brew?
It was a few weeks ago. What I'll do is I'll get something together for the next episode.
Yeah. Do some research.
I'll do some research. And then it'll all be fine. But no, Paris, I think is you would have thought, wouldn't you, that Paris, France would be quite modern. I would have thought that was my thing, but obviously not.
Well, we went on a family trip in May, and the little supermarket around the corner did have a vegan section in the fridge, and it's sold.
Was it just an apple? Little vegan section.
No, it had proper vegan products that were marked up as, you know, like a vegan range of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, restaurants was more of a challenge.
Yeah.
We did actually go for pizza. Did we go for? Yeah, we went for pizza.
Okay.
And it was very good. I'll give them a shout out in the show notes. Yeah, it was very good. But it wasn't a wholly vegan place. It was just like a vegan option.
Yeah.
But, it was very good. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. And if you want to get in touch, seek us out on social media at How I Vegan Podcast, and email us howiveganpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.